record the session for any of your cohort mates that can attend, and I'll send the recording out as well as the slides, so you don't have to feel like you need to take too many notes or anything like that. All right, and let me just go ahead and admit the last couple folks into the room. Okay, so let's get started. Again, you're here because you are almost done. You're at the finish line. You are wrapping up all the final pieces for your thesis and project. Maybe you're finishing up that last class. So we just want to, again, go over some of the last pieces with you. So we're going to go over what the ETD process is, what ScholarWorks is. We're going to talk a little bit about ADA formatting and the services available for you. Some of the ETD forms that are required of you, as well as a fee that all the students must submit. So when I say ETD, that means the electronic thesis dissertation process. The university library oversees this process, and it's headed by Dr. Carmen Mitchell. The deadline for spring, as I'm sure all of you know, is May 12th at noon. So I will be repeating that deadline multiple times over the next 20-25 minutes, just so that there's no confusion. So May 12th at noon is the final deadline for this semester. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and just go back. So all of you are finishing up EDUC 698, and the university and the CSU requires that all graduate students complete a culminating experience, as you all are aware. For the School of Education, you all complete a thesis or a project. And once you complete that thesis or project, it gets submitted to a repository called ScholarWorks. This ScholarWorks repository is now throughout the entire CSU, so all 23 campuses uses this. If you haven't seen it before, it's a really cool site where you can pretty much search by campus or by topic, anything that's been written about anything. So I kind of like suggest some of the students that if they're in the earlier stages of writing their thesis to check out what some of their peers have done before. So at the end of the day, this is what your thesis or your project will be stored in, and that's ScholarWorks. And as I mentioned before, again, gonna repeat it, all your thesis, your project, and all the documents that formatted needs to be submitted to the ScholarWorks by May 12th at noon. So let's talk about ADA formatting. So I'm sure as educators, you all are familiar with what ADA formatting is and what we need to do with that. But what I wanted to share with you, if you aren't aware, is that our library actually has a team dedicated to assist you all in formatting your document. So if you have not already formatted your thesis, so that is ADA compliant, not APA compliant, but ADA compliant, you can send it to the library by April 25th. Even if you aren't completed, even if your thesis isn't complete, your project isn't complete, you're still in the draft form, you can go ahead and send it to them. They'll format it for you. And then within a day or two, they'll send that back to you. And if it's in draft form, you can just go ahead and continue writing in that. So that at the end of it, you know that the document is formatted. This is really crucial for you all that have a lot of charts, a lot of tables. Sometimes the way you format your tables in a Word document can get a little funky when it comes to ADA formatting. So if you have not done so already, do send your draft to the library so that they can take care of that for you. And as I mentioned before, so if you send it in draft form, you will get it back, you can complete it, and then you'll be defending. Once you defend and you get any type of perhaps some revisions, some edits, you might need to do some additional work on that document. Once that work has been completed, you've done your final format to, or your final version to the best of your ability, you can send that final document back again to the library, and then they can do the final complete ADA formatting, which will include your signature page on top. That way, it'll be all nice and neat for you to submit to ScholarWorks. As I mentioned on this slide, the process can take some time, so you want to plan accordingly. If you haven't done so already, send your draft to get ADA formatted now, probably by the end of the day, maybe tomorrow at the latest. And then by the time you all defend in late April, early May, then you'll be able to get the document back. So each of you will be required to have 2 different forms. that will go along with your thesis and or project. The first form is called a signature page, and the second form is called a certification form. Now, when we used to do everything face-to-face and we used to do defenses face-to-face, these forms used to have wet signatures, but now not only the School of Education, but the majority of the programs on our campus do everything electronic with these signatures. So that's really where my office comes in. We'll be handling all of the routing for the signatures for you. You won't have to track down any committee members. You won't have to do any of that kind of stuff. We'll go ahead and take care of that for you. So what will happen is after each of you defend, an Adobe sign request will go out to your committee, and then and also yourself, depending on which form it is. And it pretty much will give you a quick prompt to sign it. Once all parties have signed, everyone will get a copy. So it's pretty simple. I know a lot of you are familiar with Adobe Sign, DocuSign, things of that nature. I have some tips on there as well. So first and foremost, I sent you all a checklist yesterday, and included in that checklist was a request for you all to fill out this quick WooFoo form. And what that WooFoo form is, it just tells me some of the essential items that I'll need to populate your signature page and your certification form. So once I have all this information aggregated, once your defense state hits, I'll have it all ready and populated for you. So let's talk about the two forms that you'll need. Or the two forms that will go through the process. First is your signature page. This signature page is signed by all your committee members, your chair, your second committee member, if you have a third or a fourth committee member. And essentially what this document means is your committee has reviewed your thesis or project, they have approved it, they have endorsed it, and they have agreed for you or to sign off on it. This signature page is going to be the top sheet of your thesis and or your project. So again, once everyone signs off on the signature page, you're going to merge the signature page to the top of the PDF of your thesis or your project before you submit it to ScholarWorks. And that's why I mentioned you can go ahead and once your signature page is complete, you can send this signature page to the library with your final thesis or your project paper, and they can merge it for you and make it ADA compliant as well. So that's your signature page. Their certification form is a second form really specific for the library. It tells the library that you intend to complete your thesis or your project. It lists who your faculty advisor is, as well as a program advisor. But one of the most important things on this certification form is that it tells the library if you want to embargo your thesis or project. And really what that means is, as I mentioned before, ScholarWorks is an open repository that anyone can go in and search your thesis or project. It's going to be stored there. But let's say you are using your current thesis work, the work that you're writing right now, it might be a part of a publication that's in queue. Maybe you're also submitting it to a journal. Maybe it has proprietary data that can't be fully public yet. Perhaps you're working with a faculty member on a project that you don't want it public yet. You can choose to embargo it, which means for whatever time that you have indicated, your thesis or project cannot be searchable through ScholarWorks. After that set time, it will be viewable to anybody. So on that WooFoo form that I'm going to ask for you to fill out, you're going to let me know, do you want open access, which is the majority of you are going to want open access, or do you want to embargo it? You can choose to embargo it for 1 or 3 years. If you have any questions on should you embargo it or not, just ask your chair. They'll be able to answer that question for you. So what's different from the certification form to the signature page is the signature page, again, you're merging that as a top sheet of your thesis or your project. This certification form, once it goes through Adobe Sign, my team will take this certification form and submit it to the library on your behalf. So once you sign it, you won't need to do anything for it. I'll go ahead and take care of it for you. It's a signature page that you need to keep an eye out and merge it to your thesis or your project. As I briefly mentioned before, all students need to submit a $25 payment to go through this ETD process. Really what that helps is to subsidize the cost of the team who helps us at ADA formatting, processing the paperwork, and maintaining ScholarWorks. So you'll go ahead and pay this online. And once you pay the fee online, I ask that you forward me a copy of the receipt to my email, and then I will take that receipt along with your certification form, and I'll submit to the library on your behalf. So again, all you need to do is pay for it, forward me a copy of the receipt, and I'll take care of that for you from there. Now, for those of you that are on campus and prefer to pay for the fee at the cashier's office in Cougar Central, you can definitely do that as well. You can just go in, let them know you're paying your ETD fee. Just send me either a picture of your receipt, or you can scan it and send it to me as well. So if you opt not to pay for it online, you can also pay for it in person. So this is pretty much a quick little digest of what I gave you on the checklist. So before your defense, so pretty much anytime from now in the next couple of days, and I recommend you do it sooner than later, you're going to submit that WUFU form to me to let me know what information to populate your certification and your signature page was. And that really information is just the title of your thesis, the date that you plan on defending, the names of your committee, as well as if you want to embargo your thesis or your project. The second thing you'll want to do is ensure that you email your thesis or project to the library so that they can make it ADA compliant. You're going to want to do that by April 25th. The second thing is, the third thing is, you're going to want to submit your online ETD payment and send the receipt to me. After your defense, so again, to reiterate, let's say you're scheduled to defend April 20th. In the evening of April 20th is when I'll start pushing out all your Adobe Sign requests. The signature page will go out to you, and you need to sign that first. You need to first e-sign it before it can get routed to your thesis chair or your project chair. And then I'll get routed to the program chair. And then afterwards, everyone will get a copy, but I will take that certification form and submit it to the library on your behalf. So again, with the certification form, you need to e-sign it first before it can go to your committee. The other Adobe Sign request will go straight, the signature page request will go straight to your committee chair, your committee members. They'll sign off, and then you'll get a copy. You'll then take that signature page, you'll merge it to your final thesis or your capstone project, and you'll send it back to thesis ada@chusm.edu for a final ADA check. Now, if you feel pretty confident that you don't need them to do that additional step, that's totally fine. You can just go ahead and merge the document and then upload the final document to the library. Now, what's going to happen is once you upload that final document to the library, it can take anywhere from 1 to 2 days before Carmen actually is able to view your document and send you a confirmation of receipt. So that's why it's really important that even though the deadline is May 12th, I really encourage you to upload and submit your items as soon as possible, because there is some processing time. You don't want to be waiting until May 12th at noon, submit it, and find out there's a glitch or something like that. So it does take 1 or 2 days for Carmen to send you a confirmation that she did receive everything. So again, if you don't hear right away, you don't get that confirmation, don't worry, it does take some time. She does process about 200 theses and projects in the spring semester, but she will get back to you. Just know that it does take some time. All right. Do you have any questions? I know I kind of breezed through that pretty quickly.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
For the WUFU thing, if our title changes, like our professors require us to change our title, do we need to submit a new form?
No, let's say you go ahead and submit your title as of right now. Should your title change before your defense, just send me an email and I'll update it.
Okay.
Let's say you go ahead and defend and your title changes after you defended and after I pushed it out, we'll just cancel the forms and reset it back to now. So that's no big deal. Just send me an email. Yeah, no worries. Any other questions? Do most of you know when you'll be defending? Yeah, you can just give the, okay, perfect. If you don't have a defense date yet, please go ahead and reach out to your chair. I know all three of your program chairs very well, and I know that everyone is very much on it. So again, a lot of this information is probably redundant for you, but if you have any other questions, just let me know. Let me see, where do we get info on the second and third chairs and readers? Deborah, usually by now you would have already received a second chair. So Deborah, are you in the MME?
I think so. I am. I just don't know who my second and third chairs are.
Okay.
Or I just don't know where would I find that info?
Usually that would have been discussed with your committee chair. Do you know who your chair is? Is it Dr. Dowd or Dr. Hernandez?
Wait, no, I don't know if I answered your first question correctly. I'm with the curriculum and instruction program.
Oh, you're in the curriculum instruction program.
Okay. My chair is Valdez. I don't know.
Gilbert. So
Debbie, your second chair is Coleman.
Awesome. Do we not have third chairs, just second chairs?
Just two.
Most people will only have two chairs, but sometimes a principal at a school site will want to jump on as a third committee chair. So, or another colleague might want to. All right. So a question is, are all of you all defending on the same day? No, right now, who's in the room is folks from curriculum and instruction, multicultural, multilingual MMA program, and special ed. So you all are defending on different days. And I know some of you may even be submitting your defense via Zoom, which is awesome as well. So if you are defending via Zoom, just go ahead and submit the date that you will be submitting your Zoom to your committee. So let's say your deadline to submit your Zoom recording or your recording is the 15th, just put the 15th. All right. Any other questions? So let me just quickly, if you have not seen it, let me just share the screen real quick. So this is the WUFU form that you all be filling out. Again, it's just very straightforward. I just need your name, student ID, your basic information, your specific program, the title, for right now, exactly how you want it reflected in ScholarWorks, unless it changes later on, as Jonathan had mentioned. The names of your committee members, and if you want open access or not. Okay. All right, any other questions? Sounds like you all are prepared then. That's wonderful. Awesome. Let me just share with you just a quick after piece. So what happens is after you submit your thesis or your project to the library and they process it, it takes them about a week to 10 days after the May 12th deadline. After that point, Carmen will go ahead and send me and the other coordinators a list of who actually successfully submitted their items. So at that point, I'll go ahead and clear your final culminating experience milestone on your ARR. So right now, if you run your ARR, it'll just show that your GWAR and your advancement to candidacy is green. So don't be alarmed if you don't see that last culminating experience milestone turn green right away. That'll happen about, give me 2 weeks after May 12th for that to occur. Now, I know because all of you will be finishing up, let me just go ahead, since it's a captive audience. A lot of the questions I get is, when will I get my degree? When will my diplomas will be sent out? All that kind of stuff. So just know that degrees will go ahead. So final grades for the spring semester usually are due about a week after the semester ends. The registrar's office will then have about 60 days for them to begin processing all of the students who have graduated or who have applied to graduate for spring. So based on that timeline, I usually say for our grad students, you can expect to have your degree officially conferred by the beginning of July. And that's when your official transcripts will be stamped that your MA degree was conferred. In the event that you have a job offer pending that you need to get your degree conferred sooner than the 60 days, there is an urgent graduation request form that you can submit to the registrar's office. Just know that if you do submit it because of like a job offer, or if you're attending, or if your doctoral program is contingent upon you receiving your MA, you will need to submit some documentation to go with it. Okay. All righty. Any other questions for you?
Yeah, no, I just had a quick one.
Sure.
So after we submit our thesis and our projects, that last time we submitted to the library for the final submission, did they go over our project, or they just make sure that everything's in order? Like, I mean, is that like a second, like, examination of our product post ADA compliance, or is it just to check that we have everything in order? And they're
That's a good question. No, that's a great question. So they're not really looking for content. They're not approving content. They're really relying that on your committee. So by the time they get it, they're really just ensuring that it's ADA compliant. They have all your forms. Everything looks good in terms of everything else format wise. And then they just go ahead and approve it. So it doesn't have any, it's not contingent based on anything content related to your project.
okay. So they're looking at like APA format and stuff like that.
APA and ADA formatting. Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, no worries.
And with that second send in, do we also give them our signature page and they'll put it in the PDF for us?
Yeah, I definitely recommend that if you have time that to go ahead and send that completed signature page with your final PDF to them.
Okay.
And again, if you have a lot of charts and tables in your thesis or your project, please ensure that you send it over to the library to get it ADA formatted, because it could be a beast for you all to try to do that. All right, everyone?
I have a question about that. So sending it to the library, we can send it multiple times, like, or is there like 2-3 times, or is it just like?
Yeah, you can send it multiple times if needed. I would just recommend try to get it in as soon as possible so that they can format what you have right now. They'll send it back, and then they can go ahead and you can basically continue writing in the draft they send back. And then if you want them to check it again, they can do it, or you can just wait until after you've defended, you've gotten the final edits approvals from your chair and your committee, and you have your signature page, and then they can do the final formatting.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, I will be sending these slides out, as well as the checklist again. And if you need the recording, I can send that out again too.
The reason I asked that, Nom, is because I just don't want to like have everything done and then have them not confer my degree because of like some comma I missed in an APA citation or something, you know?
Yeah, no. They'll go ahead and do a check on that. They'll check on that.
Thank you.
And if what's great about the library is they won't, if there's any errors or anything like that, they're not going to reject you all or anything like that. They'll reach out, they'll work with you. They'll ensure that everything is properly formatted, because essentially they just want to make sure that you all have everything squared away so that your degree can be conferred.
Sweet. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I will be sending weekly, if not bi-weekly, if not weekly, messages, just reminders to get your items in. If you have any questions along the way, do not hesitate to contact me. And if I don't hear from you, I look forward to seeing you all at commencement. So have a great evening. I will be in touch soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.